Hi everyone, it's me. So this week I have a table. A while back I did a video reacting to British problems on Reddit, which for whatever reason was very popular. So I thought I'm gonna do that again. This week, however, we are reacting to a different thread based on the UK, and I hope you like it. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alanna and I am a Canadian who has been living in Kent, England for almost 4 years, which is insanity. And this time we are going to be reacting to non-British people of Reddit. What do you find odd about Britain? So without further ado, let's go. All right, I feel like breaking news. I gotta edit that out, that's dumb. Okay, so non-British people of Reddit, what do you find odd about Britain? The amount of culinary shows on TV. This is true. However, I love the Great British Bake Off, and I mean, if you know me at all, you know that I can't bake. Not even a little bit. There's something about specifically the Great British Bake Off that is so sweet. Unironically, it's funny and it's comforting and everybody's so nice to each other and they like help each other, and it's wonderful. So if you are new to the UK, make sure to check out Great British Bake Off. They post it all over the internet, so I'm sure you can find it if it's not on TV, and you can just bask in the wonderful Britishness of the show. Went to London for the first time a couple years ago. Had several people say hello with, "Hey, you all right?" Which made me really self-conscious until I realized it was like, "Hey, how are you?" This one still gets me, and it probably always will. There's this cultural quirk in the UK where people will approach one another and they might say, "Hey, you all right?" Sometimes they just say, "All right." Sometimes they say it even slangier, which I can't do it unless you have a proper accent. To a lot of people, and there's actually more than one person who mentions this on the subreddit, to a lot of people outside of the UK, when you say "you all right," you think like, oh, like, do I look sad? Do I look upset? Like, are they concerned about me? Because at least in North America, if you went up to someone and said, "Hey, are you all right?" people would think like something's wrong. Whereas in the UK, a lot of the times that is used, you're just throwing that around. You don't care about the response. In fact, you're not really supposed to give a response. If someone says "you all right," I think a fairly acceptable response would be to then also say "you all right?" straight back. Nobody's looking for an answer. By all means, do not tell that person all your problems, because that's not what they're asking. When Brits say "you want to go for a drink," American translation, literally one drink. British meaning 10 pints, kebab, and a souvenir traffic cone. This is another thing that I both struggle with and I'm in awe of. A lot of the times when you're in the UK, say you're at work and people are like, "You guys want to go for a pint after work?" And you're like, "A pint after work, that sounds great." Or, "You want to go for drinks after work?" "Sure, great." In North America, at least to me and some of the people that I would know, that would probably consist of going out for either one drink and then going home, or going out for a drink and a meal, because you need to eat dinner, right? Whereas sometimes here in the UK, going out for a pint or going out for drinks means you leave work, you go to the pub, you drink for 4 hours. You don't eat necessarily. Most likely you don't eat. You just drink. And then you somehow find your way home. You get a greasy kebab because that's one of the only things that's still open. And somehow you have a souvenir traffic cone by the time you wake up the next day. So there's definitely a culture of drinking. We know that. But there's also this culture of drinking quite a lot. And what kills me is when I drink, I like to eat. Okay. I mean, even when I don't drink, I like to eat. So to go to the pub and just drink like 5 or 6 pints and not have dinner till like 10 o'clock at night, or not at all because I just can't be bothered by the end of it, kills me. But I do find that fairly common here in the UK, this drinking culture, and when people say you want to go for a drink, it doesn't necessarily mean one. And another one, their drinking culture. It's super common as something that's quite unique. Maybe not unique is the word, but it is a bit odd. Another thing a non-British person found odd about Britain, Henry the Hoover. I lived in the UK for a few months and every vacuum I saw grinned at me with that weird face. How can you say no to a face like that? So Henry the Hoover, I'm sure people in the comments will give you the history of Henry the Hoover, because anytime I talk about anything, British people are on there giving me the history of that particular thing. So if you want to find out the history of Henry the Hoover, check out the comments down below. Basically, he is this roundish vacuum cleaner, or Hoover rather, which I don't like that name, but when in Rome. And he's got this face painted on him. He's very like 60s. For some reason it makes me think he's very 60s. And you hoover the house with him, and the like, what do you call that front bit? It kind of looks like Henry's trunk. To me, Henry always looked like an elephant. I know that's not true, but to me, he always looked like an elephant. Anyway, Henry the Hoover is so strange. I've never seen anything like that in Canada, never seen anything like that in America. He's just a British oddity. Another thing a non-British person found weird about the UK, saying sorry for things you shouldn't be sorry for. Example, me, stands in Tesco looking at frozen food. Person next to me also looking at frozen food. Oh, sorry. See, this is very much a Canadian thing, so it's not very weird to me. In Canada, we apologize for literally existing. If you stand in front of somebody by accident, you apologize. If you are bumped into by somebody else, you apologize on their behalf. You apologize opening doors, you apologize for someone opening a door and you have to do the little jog to get to the door fast enough. You apologize to that person for making them wait. In Canada, we are just full of apologies. So when I see that here in the UK, it doesn't really weird me out because it's very much my culture as well. And the Brits, for the most part, apologize for lots of things too. It's just a whole bunch of sorries. I never quite realized it till I went there, but tea is the cure-all / end-all for any situation. You didn't get into college you want? Here, have some tea. You're a little groggy? Have some tea. Your arm's been lobbed off? Let's get you some tea. Tea is definitely the most popular drink here in the UK. I think in Canada it's probably coffee, and it's not instant coffee either. It's like properly brewed coffee. That's a whole separate issue. We'll talk about that at another time. But definitely here in the UK, it is a nation of tea drinkers. Again, you want the history? Check out the comments. People are going wild about the history of tea drinking in the UK. Between you and me, I don't drink tea. I never have. I probably never will. It just... no, thank you. So that is definitely something that is a bit strange to me personally, because I don't drink tea. And yet anytime you go someplace or you have people to your house or you go to somebody's house, you know, you want a cup of tea? Oh, let me get you some tea. Like, tea is just constantly flowing. Just don't tell anybody I don't like tea. Okay? I don't want to get banned from YouTube. The final one I've got here, just did 2 weeks in the UK. To me, the things that seemed the oddest were actually improvements over Canadian culture. Kids and dogs can go to pubs. Cashiers at grocery stores get to sit down. Roundabouts everywhere. Now, there's a couple things to unpack here. Yes, in the UK, in a lot of pubs, you can have children, and in some pubs, you can have dogs. For me, I don't like kids, but I love dogs. So there's something so special about walking into a pub and you see a dog lying on the ground. Yes, please. Kids, on the other hand, no. But some pubs will let you bring them in. I actually had a conversation recently with my American friend, and we were talking about how in North America, you would never ever bring your child to a drinking establishment. Like, you can't take your kid into a bar, and it's just not something, you know, you see the parents drinking and the kids are just kind of like running around the pub. That's quite normal, but it's not something that you see in North America, because drinking is an adult thing that is done separately from your kids. But here in the UK, you will find pubs that you can bring your kids to. I think most pubs, really, you can have kids in, unless it's like nighttime or it's like Friday night or whatever. And a lot of pubs will let you bring in dogs, which I absolutely love. The second thing they mentioned is cashiers at grocery stores get to sit down. Now, I've mentioned this in previous videos, but if you haven't watched those, why haven't you? Go watch them. But basically, I used to work at Walmart, which is the North American Asda. I was there for a solid 2 months. 2 months of hell. But as a cashier, I would stand at my till and I could not sit down. So for my entire 8-hour shift, I did not sit because we were not given chairs, because that is just not a thing. I'm hoping that's kind of changing now, but when I came here to the UK and I went to Asda, which realistically is Walmart, and all the cashiers were sitting down, I was like, yes. It makes so much more sense to let a cashier sit. I don't know why we don't do it in North America. I think some shops do, but for the most part, at least I know from my experience, I had to stand, and let me tell you, it sucked. Now, finally, they mention having roundabouts everywhere as a positive. I do not agree. I hate roundabouts. They make me so clammy and sweaty and nervous. But realistically, they make traffic move a lot quicker because cars are always moving. Whereas in Canada or in the US, we would have an intersection with traffic lights. So half the traffic is stop and you are stopped there, just sitting, while the other parts are moving, and then the lights change and you move, but it's a lot of stop and start in terms of traffic flow. Because we have so many cars here in the UK and the roads are so tiny and just not built quite nicely, don't hate me for that, you know it's true. Having roundabouts is really helpful because it keeps the traffic moving. What I struggle with is when you go to a roundabout and say like north and south are really big roads, and so they're constantly streaming, but you're on like one of the side bits, and so you have to like wait. Sometimes you have to wait a long time before you can dart out and get into the roundabout and hopefully not crash. I also wanted to give just a tiny shout out. Tiniest shout out possible. You can skip this part if you don't want to. Every Sunday evening at 6:30 local time here in England, I stream video games live on Twitch. It is really fun. It's one of my favorite things out of this whole Adventures in Naps thing. It's pretty cool. So recently, I have been playing a Spookum because at the time of filming this video, it is October, which is spooky month, my favorite. So I've been playing this spooky game, and this is kind of the stuff that you miss on Twitch. I was playing a really scary part and someone decided it would be really funny to burst into my room at that exact moment. Rest in peace, headphone users, by the way. Can you guys see anything? Ah! Oh my god, you piece of shit. Oh my god, this scene is really scary. So if you want to check out stuff like that, make sure to head over to twitch.tv/adventuresinnaps. I'm there every Sunday at 6:30. If you subscribe to my Twitch channel, you get like special updates, and we have a chat room and all the rest of it. Anyway, I thought it was pretty funny. That's it. So those are some of the weird things non-British people find about the UK. That, of course, is only just a little selection, but if you are non-Brit who watches these videos, let me know what you find odd about the great UK. What things are just a bit weird to you? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!